Hi guys, Martin Curry from Buy Invest Live. As always, Kelvin Mason sitting off to my right, and Domenico behind the camera. I'm here with Sophie and Morgan.
Yep.
I got that right. And they're two beautiful children, but you no longer live in Rouse Hill.
No.
Why not?
Nothing.
It just got too expensive, too busy. We were living in an apartment complex, and it just got crazy. Like the rent just blew up, and just for a small space, like I don't know why you'd pay that when we could pay for a rent for a house further out. So it just got a bit too much.
Are you guys under 30? You kind of look quite young, or at that transitional stage?
I turned 30 in July.
Yeah.
Happy birthday for last July. It was my birthday in September. Happy birthday to me for September. So at this stage, do you know what the RBA cash rate is at this point in time?
I think it's increased above 4%.
Well, 4.35. Do you know what inflation is? Again, these are figures we don't know. And for a lot of us, we tend to ignore that sort of stuff as noise because the reality of owning a home can become more and more difficult every day, and you've just indicated that. And it's horrible that people have to compromise there. Is it quality of living? Have you compromised? Have you taken a step back?
Quite a lot. We're worried at the moment. She's not starting school next year. It'll be the following year. But we've started looking into uniform and things like that, and it's just crazy. Like thinking of now having to start saving just for uniform in 2 years' time. And like you see online, a lot of people stressing out about Christmas. And it's sad, like it's heartbreaking.
I know the same thing. I've got 3 children, and it's not just uniform, it's school bags, it's pens and pencils, it's all these things. And inflation keeps on playing its part, and the cost of living in the grocery store becomes the cost of lettuce. We saw the cost of lettuce at $10 last year for a whole bunch of different reasons. You see broccoli at various prices, and people always say it's easier to eat expensive. I think the opposite applies, because inflation has its way with fuel and whatever else, transport and processing, and the cost of fresh fruit and vegetables is far more now than what it once was. So probably for the first time in a long time, it's cheaper to eat processed food rather than like everybody is making these sacrifices, and it's these stooges in the RBA that make these determinations that cause us to have a lesser quality of life, which is sad. I'm going to cut all that out because it's horrible to say that sort of stuff online, but I genuinely believe that. I feel horrible for everybody. And you're saying you have to save up for school equipment. It doesn't give you much wiggle room to save up for your first home, does it?
No, we looked in, I think it was 2018, we started saving for our first home. We lost all of our savings during the first COVID lockdown, just paying rent basically. And now it's out of our price range. There's no way. I don't think we'd ever own a home in our lifetime. And I'm only 27.
That's horrible to say.
I graduated in 2011 from high school, and the average home price was under $500,000. And then within the 12 years I've graduated, like around here, it's above well over $1 million.
It's like 1.7 now for an average 4-bedroom home.
And I not so much get the nerves or anything, but I hate that we keep bragging about how much homes are going for in Western Sydney when it's a basic house. It's not a mansion. It's not private swimming pool and tennis court or anything like that. It's just a friggin' house. And it's like, I get everybody has their part to play, banks, real estates, everything. But when I keep getting targeted ads at how well people are selling houses for in Western Sydney, and I know I cannot afford that, why should I be excited? Why should I be, oh great, this person sold their house for 1.7. Well, if they're going to keep living in Western Sydney, it's going to cost them 1.7 anyway to live out here. Unless you're going to go country or whatever. And then people keep saying, just move to the country, move to the country. It's not the same infrastructure in the country. No offense. I got nothing against country people or anything like that. but we've relied so heavily on Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane being the three major cities that you got to live in, and if you're not living there, you basically live in nowhere. We ignore Adelaide, we ignore Perth, we ignore Tassie, and now Tassie's starting to feel the pinch because there's a rental crisis in Tassie. It's like, how long are we going to rely on the East Coast being the be-all and end-all of Australia before we actually start putting infrastructure further and further west? Because right now, Parramatta's the middle of the CBD now, according to statistics and everything. And it's like, okay, well then, when's Blacktown going to be the centre of the CBD, you know? And then when is it going to be Penrith, you know? We act as if the Blue Mountains or the Great Dividing Range is literally a dividing range that we can't get over this mountain range for some reason and move west with infrastructure and stuff like that. Yeah. And then you look at towns on the other side of the mountains, or cities, I should say, like Dubbo and Orange. Orange is doing all right because they've got the wine country, but then you look at Dubbo and they've got like crap crime rates and stuff because no one's moving out there and no one bats an eye at them. We just ignore it. Like even the Blue Mountains now, like Blaxland, Springwood, everything, even that stuff's gone for $1 million now. It's like, how far out of the CBD do you have to live before you can physically afford? You know, at some point someone's going to be living at Coffs Harbour and commuting to Sydney for work because that's the only way they can afford it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I understand. That's why we're out here talking to people, because we're trying to understand what it is to be younger in this environment and dealing with the property pressures that guys like yourself are feeling, and it's horrible.
Yeah, I know there's, 3 years difference? There's 3 years difference between my wife and I, but I was in high school when the first GFC hit. Well, not the first ever GFC, but the 09 GFC, 07 or whatever it was. And we looked at the results from that and it was like, oh, what happened? Oh, it was overinflation in the housing market. We were giving home loans to people that couldn't afford them. There was too much debt. It all collapsed. Shit hit the fan. We had to bail out the banks. It's like, oh, well, we've learned from that. We'll make sure that never happens again. And in the next 12 years, the housing market has surged in Australia. Mainly, it's, yes, there's young people wanting to buy a home. That's always a given because that's what we do. 2, yes, we have a big overseas student market over here that needs to rent because they're studying at unis and stuff like that. I've got nothing against that. If that's propping up the unis, then okay. But then 3, we've got foreign investment as well. We didn't clamp down on that. Leading up to COVID, New South Wales especially, they were making millions and millions off friggin' stamp duty during that time.
Yeah.
We then went into lockdown. First lockdown. We found out a week before first lockdown that we were having our second child.
Okay.
I was given JobKeeper. Nothing against it. I appreciate that we had something. However, JobKeeper for me was a 33% pay cut. A week after finding out we were expecting our second. Didn't know when we were climbing out of it. We were told, oh, you can dip into your super to pay off things, which I had to do to pay off my car. Otherwise, we weren't going to have a car. And then we came out of that. And then things seemed to be going normal. Bang, second lockdown. Second lockdown, the payment was better because they just matched what you were missing. It wasn't a pay cut or anything. It was basically what you'd normally take home, whatever the difference is, you get it. So you were getting your full pay. That was a better system, and I appreciated that. But then immediately after that, we were told, oh, we've just spent all our money trying to keep the economy going through COVID and all that. I'm like, okay, that's great. We're being told we need to tighten our belts. We already were for 2 years tightening our belts because of COVID. And then next minute the RBA starts putting the cash rate up.
Yeah.
And constantly saying that we need to tighten our belts, we need to tighten our belts. Flip side, these guys, and these guys are all making record profits quarter after fucking quarter. And then, on the other hand, inflation's going up, so the cost of groceries is going up. Well, who else is making big profits? Oh, surprisingly, Coles and Woolworths, the friggin' monopoly that they have, they're making money as well. And I'm sorry to get angry, but we're constantly being told, tighten your belt. Mate, I'm going to be a 20-inch waist soon, the way I'm friggin' tightening my belt. Like, it's frustrating. Like, we left this area because we could no longer physically afford to stay, and we're just, it's like they're trying to gentrify the people that gentrified Rouse Hill in the first place. It's like, oh, we've got all the money we can out of them, we need to up the price again because we can sell these for more again. And it's like, okay, but there's no life around here. No offense.
Yeah.
Like, it's crap. I hate it.
No, it's good to hear that, and you have an experience that is shared by so many others.
Yeah.
There is light at the end of the tunnel.
I think that's the only thing that makes you feel a bit better is you know that you're not alone. Everyone else is experiencing the same thing that you are, and it's hard. Like, it is hard.
Yeah.
And I've spoken to other mums and they're experiencing the same thing. So you don't feel like you've done something wrong and that you're poor with your money or you're not earning enough or anything like that. It's everyone else is exactly the same boat as you.
Yeah. So, it's heartbreaking hearing the same story over and over. It really is.
Yeah.
So, where to from here for you two and your beautiful girls? Like, have you got a plan for the next 12 months?
Just stay out of debt, save our money, work hard. Pray there's not another COVID resurgence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've always been pretty good with money and sort of saving what I can. So hopefully I can just continue what I'm doing and hopefully nothing goes tits up, like he said. And yeah, I think I sort of hope Coles and Woolworths like pull their heads out of their asses a bit because there's only so much you can buy that's home brand.
Yeah.
Or that they sell that's home brand before you have to go to the branded things. And
I'll tell you something. I went to IGA yesterday, and
IGA is the worst.
IGA is the worst, but also their inflation. The effect of inflation has been the worst. And one of the people I spoke to there told me that the best-selling item within the entire store is black and gold chicken nuggets. Because people are cutting the cost of spending. They don't go to Macca's for their nuggets anymore. They don't buy the brand Stegel stuff. They go for black and gold. And he said that's the biggest indicator for us that we've not seen, since certainly in some respects during the GFC, but never seen prior. So I'm just curious, like guys like you deserve to own your own home. These girls, obviously at some point, really deserve to grow up in a family home. So have you looked into government grants and all those sorts of things that might be available to you?
We have, but even with those, like, it's just not enough. Like, the interest rate keeps going up, and at no point is the government grants going to do anything to help us.
Yeah.
So
it's also, like, you talk about government grants and stuff, and they brought out the first home buyers grant. My parents bought land in 86 in Schofields and then built a house in 87.
Yeah.
As far as they were concerned, that was going to be the family house. Melody? That was going to be the family house forever.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, well, we'll buy this as an investment, and then when we decide to have kids, we'll sell it off because hopefully it's made money back by then. Why all of a sudden in one generation of parents has it gone from work full-time, buy a house, live in it forever, to all of a sudden it's like, oh no, well this is your first home you're going to buy. This is an investment. And it's like, why should my first home have to be an investment or be my first home? Like,
why can't it just be your home, your family home?
And this is the thing. It's like, it's this whole, it's not a house, it's a home, that sort of situation. It's like, as far as I'm concerned, if I ever do buy a house, they're taking me out in a box because that's the only way they're going to get me out of it when I'm 103, according to how long we're supposed to live for by then. Like, it was always like, oh, you leave the house to your kids. And not that I was expecting my parents to do that, but that's kind of like the given stereotypical thing, like the family nest egg, that sort of thing. All of a sudden, it's like we've jumped on the investment property train and bought into the scheme, but not looked at the repercussions for everything else.
Yeah.
And if you're someone who went out there and saved your pennies and you've got a bunch of investment properties, more to you. I've got nothing against that. I get it. It's capitalism. But when you're looking at the statistics and it's like, well, it's not just investment property owners over here that are crushing people out of the market. It's foreign investment. It's foreign students coming over here. Maybe you need to repeal things back a bit or look at better systems to make sure that, like Morrison said, everybody gets a fair go or everybody gets to have a go. It's like, mate, I've been having a go. I've been working since I was 14 and 9 months, and I'm lucky that I got a wife and kids and stuff to show for it. But it's almost like I haven't checked off that, oh, I've bought a house box, you know?
Yeah.
I've bought my first car. I've done all that stuff. But it seems like the hill I need to get up to buy a house, it just keeps growing. Like, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
it's hard as hell, mate. I didn't expect to have this conversation when I started talking to you, but like Kelvin, part of what he does is he tries to facilitate people with first home buyers grants and things.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure he keeps in touch with you, and I'm going to make sure he has a conversation with you, mate, because you deserve better.
Yeah.
So to your missus who's gone walkies with your lovely kids.
Yep.
So really appreciate you talking to us.
Yeah, no,
it's been really good. But like I said, I'm going to make sure Kelvin stays in touch. He's got an expertise in that area, despite the fact he's also a media mogul of the area. And he does just help guides people into those.
I feel like I might have potentially served you before at my job.
Who are you?
Oh, we'll talk about that off camera. I don't want to. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, guys, Kelvin Mason, buy invest leave, buyinvestleave.com.au. I don't know our phone number. What's our phone number, Kelvin?
It's all right. It's on the website.
He doesn't know his own phone number. It's on the website. Thanks, mate. I wish you the best of luck.
No, cheers.